Round two.
You don't know that.
Second of all, I do know, and I wrote the damn bill.
For the second time, a crowded field of Democrats face off.
This is part of the dark underbelly of American society. The racism, the bigotry.
And the battle lines sharpen.
I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
As each pitches their agenda to take on President Trump in 2020.
Live team coverage of the Democratic presidential debate begins now. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Natalie Pasquarella.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Holden. This was a high-stakes debate night tonight in the Motor City, especially for the lower-polling Democratic candidates. Those candidates trying to seize their moment and their momentum to advance into the next round.
Yeah, the more than 20 candidates, 10 took to the stage. The higher-polling candidates were center stage.
And it was health care that seemed to dominate the discussion early on, also immigration. That was a hot topic, along with racial injustice. Tonight's debate covering a lot of ground, a lot of topics. We've got you covered tonight.
Let's kick things off in Detroit with News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Natalie. You know, whether or not you agree with Bernie Sanders, and clearly some of these Democrats do not, tonight's debate was a referendum on his ideology. And in that sense, he dominated tonight's debate as the Democrats discussed their moral obligations and where the line is that's too far left. It began with an interesting test of body language as the candidates entered game show style and greeted each other on stage. Some of them are friends. All of them are rivals.
Nobody can defend the dysfunctionality of the current system.
Beginning with health care, many of the questions tonight were framed around Bernie Sanders' unapologetically progressive policies.
No deductibles and no co-payments.
Sanders says he'd raise taxes on the middle class to pay for his plan. Would everybody else?
Costs will go up for billionaires and go up for corporations. For middle-class families, total costs will go down.
I think you can buy into it.
The answer is no. The middle class will not pay more in taxes.
Sanders was fired up tonight when fellow Democrats suggested his ideas were off base.
It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know.
Second of all.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all.
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know,
Congressman.
and I wrote the damn bill.
You don't have to yell.
Then an immigration question. Would decriminalizing borders encourage more illegal immigration?
When I'm president, illegally crossing the border will still be illegal.
I expect that people who come here follow our laws, and we reserve the right to criminally prosecute them.
The criminalization statute is what gives Donald Trump the ability to take children away from their parents.
If a mother and a child walk thousands of miles on a dangerous path, in my view, they are not criminals.
Senator Amy Klobuchar said her opponents are making false promises to get elected, but then she punted when asked who.
Who on this stage is making promises just to get elected?
Everyone wants to get elected.
Some of the more impassioned moments were when candidates asserted their electability.
I think if we're going to force Americans to make these radical changes, they're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't.
I have bold ideas, but they are grounded in reality. I can win this. I'm from the Midwest.
Well, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for.
If it's true that if we embrace a far-left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. If we embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists.
And in answer to that electability question, Bernie Sanders said what he's been saying since the 2016 campaign, that every credible poll shows that he would beat President Trump. He also pointed out that he won the Democratic primary here in Michigan. And I should also note that Pete Buttigieg, 40 years junior of Sanders, missed no opportunity throughout this debate to point out his youth. But when he was asked pointedly if age is an issue in this campaign, he demurred, saying that a person of any age can be a good president. We will be here again tomorrow for round 2 of round 2. But for now, that's all. Live in Detroit, Melissa Russo, News 4 New York.
All right, Melissa, getting things started for us tonight. A lot of topics, a lot of themes, a lot of claims by the candidates tonight. So we're here to sift through what's true, what's false, and check the facts. As Melissa just mentioned, in the first few minutes of the debate, the candidates went deep into health care. Senator Sanders quickly defended his Medicare for All plan. But as he did, Senator Amy Klobuchar landed a dig on Sanders for one time supporting a public option health bill. Here's the clip.
Heard some of these candidates say that it's somehow not moral if you not moral to not have that public option. Well, Senator Sanders was actually on a public option bill last year, and that was Bernie, the Medicaid public option bill that Senator Schatz introduced.
All right, so did Sanders support a public option bill? Yes, that is true. Bernie Sanders was a co-sponsor of a bill written by Hawaii Democrat Brian Schatz. The bill essentially aiming to allow states to create a Medicaid buy-in program to give their residents the option to participate regardless of income. And Sanders not alone in that. Senator Klobuchar, as well as Senators Warren, Booker, Harris, and Gillibrand, were also co-sponsors of that bill. Also on the health care theme, it was Governor Steve Bullock who made a noteworthy claim on the price of prescription drugs in America.
You know, we pay more for prescription drugs than any place actually in the world. We got nothing to show for it. Negotiate prescription drug prices. End surprise medical billing.
All right, so you heard what he said there. Is this true? Close. Americans do pay more for drugs than people in any other developed country in the world. That's according to recent studies cited by CNBC. Now, Governor Bullock, you heard there, just suggested the U.S. should negotiate drug prices to help Americans afford their meds. Well, get this. Under current law, that is technically illegal. Federal law bars the government from negotiating drug prices. So to accomplish his idea, Congress would essentially have to vote to change it. And then the debate turned towards gun violence. Mayor Pete Buttigieg discussing some of his thoughts and ideas to address the problem and offered some statistics about the number of Americans who support background checks.
90% of Republicans want universal background checks, not to mention the common sense solutions like red flag laws that disarm domestic abusers and flag mental health risks and an end to assault weapons.
So you hear that 80 to 90% of Republicans supporting background checks. Is this correct? It's pretty close. In fact, a 2019 Quinnipiac poll found 92% of Republicans said they support background checks for all gun buyers. Last year, that number was closer to 97% of Republicans. Overall, 94% of Americans said they supported background checks this year in that same Quinnipiac survey.